Let me take you behind the screen for a minute because from the outside, remote work, especially in social media, can look really simple. You post a few things online, reply to a few messages, maybe schedule some content, and that's it, right? But the reality is a lot more layered than that. Some days it honestly feels like I'm juggling 10 different roles at the same time. I'm the strategist, the content creator, the copywriter, the designer, the client manager, the analyst looking at metrics, and sometimes the motivator of my clients too. And if I'm being completely real with you, there are also days where I feel like I'm failing at all of them. Not because I'm not trying, but because workload can feel like it's coming from every direction at once. I remember one particular morning, not too long ago, I woke up, grabbed my phone, and saw that my inbox was already full. Client messages, content edits, approvals waiting, a few new requests that weren't part of the original plan. Then I opened my content calendar for the week, and it was looking way too empty for my comfort. On top of that, I had a pitch I promised myself I would send out before noon. So I took a break for a moment, and for a moment, I just stared at the screen because in that moment, I panicked. I literally asked myself, how am I going to get all of this done without completely burning out? And if you've ever worked remotely, especially in a creative or service based role, you probably know that exact feeling. That moment where everything feels urgent, everything feels important, and you're the only one responsible for making it all work. But then I reminded myself of something that took me years to truly understand. Remote work really doesn't mean working 24/7. It means managing yourself, managing your energy, managing your time, and managing your priorities in a way that actually produces results without destroying your balance. So instead of spiraling into stress, I opened my calendar and I started structuring my day, not randomly, not based on whatever message popped up first, but intentionally. I blocked my morning for strategy work. That's when my brain is the clearest, and that's when I do the deeper thinking for my clients. Then mid-morning, I schedule content creation. That's when I write captions, outline posts, and create visuals. After lunch, I left space for client calls and communication. And in the evening, I plan time to review the week ahead. Simple structure, but it makes a huge difference. Now, here's a part of my routine that almost nobody talks about, and honestly, it's the thing that saves my sanity. Between those work blocks, I take micro breaks, 5 minutes, sometimes even less. Just 5 minutes to step away from the screen, 5 minutes to breathe, 5 minutes to reset my brain. Sometimes I walk around the house, sometimes I stretch, sometimes I just sit quietly and think about what's actually working for my clients and what needs to change. Those tiny pauses might not sound like much, but they prevent the kind of burnout that creeps up when you are staring at a screen all day. And around 11 a.m. that day, I had a client call scheduled. Now, this particular client came into the call frustrated. Their engagement had dropped, their leads weren't coming in, and they couldn't understand why the content wasn't converting the way it used to. You could hear the stress in their voice, and this is where a lot of people would panic or give generic advice. But instead, I pulled up the data. I shared my screen. I showed them the engagement metrics, the audience behavior, the posts that were performing, and the ones that weren't. Then I walked them through a few adjustments that we could make immediately. Nothing dramatic, just strategic changes, different hooks, clearer call to action, slight adjustments in posting timing. By the end of that call, the entire tone had changed. You could hear the excitement replacing the frustration. And they said something that stuck with me. They said, I didn't realize a small change like that could make such a big difference. At that moment, right there, that's the real joy of remote work for me. It's not just posting content, it's not just creating campaigns, it's seeing strategy turn into real results. It's helping someone grow their business even when you're hundreds and or thousands of miles away. After lunch, I moved into content creation. This part can be fun, but it can also be chaotic if you're not organized. I started drafting captions, designing visuals, repurposing videos I had saved in my swipe files. And this is where I realized something important again. Organization is everything in this line of work. Without my systems, my swipe files, my templates, my content calendars, I'll be drawing in ideas and deadlines. Ideas are easy, execution is the real work, and systems make execution possible. By the time evening came, I took a moment to reflect on the day. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't do everything perfectly. Some posts still needed adjustments, some messages still needed replies, some pitches I sent out hadn't received responses yet, but I had made progress, and progress is what really matters, not perfection, not doing everything in one day, but moving forward consistently and intentionally, because that kind of progress is what builds authority, it builds credibility, and eventually it builds income. So, if there's one thing I want to leave with you today, is this: remote work, especially as a social media manager, isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters strategically. It's about focusing on important things. It's about focusing on impact instead of activity. It's about building a system that allows you to show up, deliver results, and still have a life outside of your laptop. So if you're trying to build a remote career right now and you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself a couple of honest questions. Are you actually productive or just busy? Are you posting content or creating real transformation for your clients? Because the moment I started working with more intention, my day stopped feeling chaotic. My clients started seeing results they hadn't imagined before. And honestly, that's the real win. Now I'm curious about you. What's the hardest part of your remote work day? And how do you make it work? Let's talk about it.